All right. Positivity. We're moving on. We're moving forward. Cincinnati. Damn it. That's a positive damn it. Let's take a look at how the season wrapped up for everybody else. The Ohio State Buckeyes have won the national title, defeating UCLA 34-20. The national title for Ohio State, as Iowa takes the Birmingham Bowl over Charlotte. You had Texas Tech over Texas in the Orange Bowl. NC State over Virginia Tech in the Cotton Bowl. South Carolina over Notre Dame in the Sugar Bowl. And the Fiesta Bowl goes to Penn State over Minnesota. Rose Bowl is Arkansas kicking the crap out of Maryland. So, there you go, the biggest bowl games. With the exception, of course, of the Pop-Tarts Bowl, which was won by Missouri by 1 point over North Kakalaki. So, there is that. We do need to go back and take a look at the schedule from conference week to see who is getting promoted as the number 1 seed. From the MAC, Virginia ends up being the champs there. So Virginia gets that promotion. NC State takes the Big 12 title over Arkansas. Arkansas State beat Air Force to win the Sun Belt. Maryland takes the Conference USA Championship. Indiana takes the SEC title. I have them marked down. There they are. UCLA took the American Conference Championship. Hawaii wins the Mountain West. Penn State over Clemson for the ACC. Northwestern takes home the Pac-12. And South Carolina won the Big Ten. There you go. Those are all the conference champions. All of those teams, of course, getting promoted. A look at the numbers on the season. We'll be saying goodbye to some players, including B. fucking Arthur. 17 touchdowns, 7 picks. Hickenbottom High Noon went 3-1. So not a brutal season for B. Arthur, but it could have been better. Certainly. The running game, 1,300 yards with 10 touchdowns for Juco Salamanca, who we will be saying goodbye to, unfortunately. Passing game, 49 receptions for Shiverbus, 690 yards, led the way with 7 touchdowns. So a little bit low in that regard. Only 5 sacks allowed to lead the way. 3 of our O-linemen allowing that number. 95 tackles for the Cowboy Bebop. Tackles for loss, though, Okada's coin drop with 31. And defensively, Not Sure led the way with 8 sacks. Damn. Should we think about changing our playbook? We will be changing the playbook. Although, who knows how many games we would have won had our kicker not missed 10 attempts. LFC, he's amazing, isn't he? He's amazing. Yeah, the spread option playbook works really well for me from an in-game standpoint, but it didn't work out too well for us from a simming standpoint. We'll judge what our playbook is going to be based off of what the team looks like heading into next season. So we will decide that in the near future. We'll do it. We'll do it. All right. Again, our target wins per year are 7, so we've never won fewer than 7 games in a season. We have always finished over 500 in our now 5 years here. We finally get our first bowl win. It's been 5 years in the Sun Belt. 5! That is a tragedy. 5 fucking years as Kirby Smart's out at Georgia and Brent Venables out in Oklahoma. They are apparently a highly rumored candidate for both, but in 2 years we hit where Navy won. Don't say that. Oh my God. Congrats. Yeah, Mike Tomlin over here. Mike Tooglin. In terms of coaching changes, do we have anything notable for us? Nope. Phil Parker's still on as defensive coordinator. I do not remember where the hell Boston College is right now. I know they weren't doing particularly well. Jim is still their defensive coordinator. Way to go, Jim. Way to go, way to go. Players leaving. No transfers out, which is great. But look at the talent that we're losing. Scrawny Nag, B fucking Arthur, Juco Salamanca. Scrawny Nag at safety, 134 career tackles, 1 sack, 3 interceptions. One of them was a pick 6, presumably. So Scrawny Nag is gone. B fucking Arthur, our starter really over the last 2 years. 33 touchdowns, 11 picks, 4,300 yards. A very solid player. And then Juco Salamanca, 2,500 yards over the last 2 seasons with 27 touchdowns. It's going to be tough to overcome these losses. We also lose Ras Beeves, excuse me. Mr. Chokovich, Yosemite Sam, Ted Haas Wilson, Cornelius T. Tumbleweed, Brokeback Mountain, Wild Bill Hickok, Ride 'em Cowgirl, Dusty Trail. Well, it was time for him to hit his namesake. That is the crop of talent that we are losing. We know that we've brought in quite the recruitment class already, though, and there's still one player we got to fight for. Nobody went pro, of course. Do we have any transfer requests? We do. Again, we are allowed to accept these. It is a 66 defensive tackle coming over from Kansas State, Travis McIntosh. So, Travis, welcome in. That gets us an extra DT, which is something I'm never going to complain about. All right. So, in terms of recruitment, we have no scholarships left. This was the guy with 90 throw power and 81 speed. Well, I don't have any scholarships left, but I can still put 10,000 points on Brian Walter to see if he'll come here. And then we'll see if Jonathan Jenkins signs with us anyway. That's the hope. So all we can do is fight for him. We probably won't get him, though, because of the scholarship. And I refuse to transfer. It's too late. I thought we had 2 spots left because the transfer does... Okay, well, that's great. That is right. The transfer does count as a scholarship. So remember what I said about this GIF? Remember what I said about that GIF? I wish it would tell you what your scholarship count is. And Walter goes to Wake Forest instead. Okay, well, let's focus on the positives. The positives, we had a great class. Ranked as the 68th in the nation. But. We would have had to fight hard for Walter anyway. Look at the caliber of player that we did bring in. You know? This is easily our best class to date. Easily. I mean, I don't want to say it because Jesus Christ, like Occam's razor, Razor Ramon, call it what you will. Even if we should advance, it doesn't mean that we will advance, right? Let's start with the kicker punter situation because we've brought in plenty of these guys just to try to solve this goddamn issue once and for all. Obviously, we don't have training results yet. However, we got Bo Byron with 95 power and Fabian Smith with 90 power, but only 70 accuracy. There's no doubt Byron has to be our kicker again. Even though his accuracy isn't impressive, the range he gives us is just far too useful, and he'll get better. And the rest we're going to leave at punter for now. Odds are Smith is going to be the guy with that 90 power. But we'll take a look at training camp results and see if we have to cut any of these guys. But Byron's probably our guy. For the athletes, we have Donald Walters, who is a 78 at quarterback, 78 at running back, and in the 70s for the secondary. However, we needed a quarterback, and he is probably it. There's also Wayne Montgomery, who's a 78 at quarterback, a 76 at running back, a 78 at wideout, and again, good in the secondary. And then Chris Griffin. Solid on the O-line, solid on the D-line, solid at linebacker. It's O-line or D-line for Chris Griffin. So we'll come back. We'll come back and see where we want people to go. The running game, pre-training camp. Doesn't look as strong as I need it to. Dave Gonzalez is in his best position there. A.O. Jenkins is also in his best position. And, of course, we know these other guys are then technically in their best positions as well. Cowboys should have fullback for the wideouts. Derek Dixon, 79. He is in his best spot. We also got Brett Brown, who is in his best spot as well. And Kyle Graham, also in his best position. Okay. No new tight ends. The O-line, as always, we're going to have to sort that out. Let's do that really quickly. And this will help us decide who will get that extra player between the O-line or the D-line with that athlete. And actually, with this line, 78 speed, he's not going to get any better, so he'll stay on the D-line. 65 speed for Rivers. We'll move him back to DT. Over here, Dutch. We'll keep him. Weddle's going to DT. Shooty Blasty is going to defensive tackle. That pretty much answers my question already. Yeah, I think it does. Chris Griffin is going to the defensive line here. That'll be the best spot for him. For the defensive tackles, we actually have a shitload of them now. So obviously we'll be able to make some cuts there. And then for the linebackers, and to put Jermaine Ham over here. These guys aren't necessarily as fast as I'd like them to be. At all. And we're going to have to make some exceptions, most likely. Everybody here at least 90 speed, at least dudes that are going to improve. Our secondary looks okay. I think the two new athletes, maybe one of them goes to the secondary. It'd be a bit of a tough call. How many linebackers do we have here? Not a ton. Not a ton. So defensive line. Moved a couple of people. The fastest dudes of the bunch are the ones that are going to get moved. And we'll actually start off with these two. Carter drops off quite a bit. Getting moved to linebacker, though. That's a shame. That is a shame, but he will be better suited there. Jermaine Ham was drafted from that position. We know Dutch is going to get better. We're moving Dutch over. We're moving biggest of Billy's back. Let's see, it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we still need like 2 more guys to move over. Right. It'll have to be Jermaine Ham. And then the fastest defensive tackle. This guy was scouted as a defensive end, so we'll move Tony back over. And that should give me the numbers that I need. Should. So let's really quickly go back to the O-line. See who is the best for each spot. Eggs and Ham drops by 1. So does Roth. McCullough gets better. Pony up Express. Baker can move to the middle. O'Driscoll stays on the outside for the moment. Dortch as well. Jermaine Wynn can move to the middle. Duke stays on the outside. All the small things to the interior. Helio, I am here to the interior. And Preston to the interior. See McCullough up by 2. Billy Baker up by 2. Wynn goes up by 4. Am here up by 1. Small things up by 1. Preston up by 4. Okay. Let's move Baker to right guard. Let's move Am here to right guard. From there, right tackle. Right tackle. Yeah, we're looking okay on the O-line, which is shocking. We haven't really had good O-line depth for a while. On the defensive line, well, it ends up being pretty straightforward. We actually have a lot of defensive end depth here, 4 and 4. Crap load of defensive tackles, as we talked about. For the linebackers, NJ stays the same. Shades of Gray gets worse. Vanderlyn gets better. Bebop gets better. Twitchbroke stays on the outside. Ham stays on the outside. Ghost stays on the outside. Billy to the middle. And Meow Mix can stay on the outside as well. So let's go with something like that. The linebackers are good at 3, 3, and 3. And then one more time, one more position to fix. It's the secondary, and then we got to figure out what the hell we're doing with these athletes. Based on the numbers, I think we're going to need one of these athletes, right? Because they were both good for quarterback. 78, 76, 78, 78. Do I need one of them at running back? Probably. I definitely need one of them at quarterback. All right, let's get a look at the numbers. So Hawk stays the same. Smith goes up by 1. Smith up by the other Smith up by 1. Williams up by 2. Moose Knuckle up by 2. Fart for me up by 1. Spurs up by 1. Curtis goes up by 4. Spurs goes up by 1, as we mentioned. Texan up by 2. Ketchum's up by 8. Okay. So if I move 2 more over, we'll have 6 in general. It's not too bad. Again, Hawk stays the same. Smith technically got better. Both of them did. So I got 1 more to move over. It's a +1 for Eric Smith. That's a +2 for Williams. Let's go with Williams. So, yeah, 6 corners. 2 and 2 at safety. -2 for Smith. Williams is a -2. Curtis is a -3. Ketchums goes up by 1. Just move Williams over. Okay. So the 2 athletes, 1 at quarterback, 1 at running back. They're both fast. Montgomery has the better size, the better agility, better break tackle, better elusiveness. Great spin and juke. His carrying sucks. He is a massive fumble risk if he gets hit. Meanwhile, he also has better catching. But then again, even if we put him at running back, god damn, no matter what, man, that carry rating sucks. He is a better route runner and a better catcher of the ball if we were to put him at running back, though. But he also has the better throw power at an 87. How's he at corner? They both could play in the secondary, but again, one of them has to be a quarterback, even if they're not the starter this year. I mean, it's a huge risk. Definitely a huge risk. Again, Hickenbottom High Noon could be the starter this year. He has no speed whatsoever. I just don't like, knowing that Montgomery's a better on-the-ball option. Walters doesn't quite have the same speed or throw power, but he's not going to be as good as an option out of the backfield. To be honest, I think I'm going... We'll risk it. Montgomery quarterback, Walters at running back. And we'll see what happens. We're going to have to scout 2 new quarterbacks after this season anyway, because we have 2 seniors, so... this is going to be very interesting in terms of recruiting in this upcoming season. We do have a 91 rated quarterback, though. He's a pocket passer, but Hickenbottom High Noon. That immediately takes away the option from our playbook conversation. We know we'll be going with the pocket passer and Hickenbottom High Noon. We don't have the one dominant running back, but by committee, we're looking okay. Especially with 97 speed, Steve Harvey. Fullbacks looking good. For the wideouts, they're looking a little bit better. Kent C. Straight will be here this year as the number 1. 2 really good tight end options. Eggs and Ham looking good on the O-line. So the O-line shouldn't be complete garbage. The defensive line, pretty good. Linebackers, look, dude, if we don't get promoted. If we don't get promoted, Jesus. 92 kicker for, if we don't get promoted, man. We have to. We have to. Do we have to cut anybody? We got to cut 9 players. That's a bit rough. We actually end up with a walk-on quarterback, Michael Freeman. Who I'll just go ahead and cut because whatever. At running back, oh boy. It is Tommy, yeah. It would make sense to cut one of the seniors and probably be Pinkley Torres just to save room. I mean, he's going to be our 3rd choice running back this year. We might as well save up the other guys. I hate to say it, but Pinkley Torres, the 3rd, we're going to let him go heading into his senior year. Just, we need the space in the future. Could argue A.O. Jenkins as well. Could go. McStuffins is slow, but again, he's a freshman. So, because he was an auto signing that we are allowed to keep. Wideouts. Jesus Christ, the amount of seniors. Okay, well, this again makes the decision pretty easy. Hate to say it, but Chugwater Truckstick just isn't going to play. So we might as well get rid of him. As well as Mean Gene Okerlund. He's just not going to play. Yeah, he'd be 8th choice. We won't cut anybody on the O-line because it's difficult enough to get players there. Defensive end, nobody to cut. Defensive tackle. We're going to cut Shooty Blasty, who just never took off. Still got 4 dudes left. Nobody to cut there. We know we have the punters. .99 accuracy, 89 power for Morgan. Honestly, I mean, Morgan's the one guy I can't redshirt this year. I mean, the accuracy is great, but the kick power isn't. There's no way I'm playing him at kicker as opposed to punter. Because we have Byron, who has an absolute fucking cannon of a leg now. I hate to say it, it's not often I'd cut a 92 rated player, but we are going to get rid of Arthur Morgan to make room for the guy with a little bit of extra power. Good old Skeeter. Arthur Morgan is out. We got 3 dudes left to cut. What about that senior at the bottom? I'm going to redshirt him this year more than likely. And then one of those 2 other juniors needs to get released, and it's going to be Smith. He has better power than Britton, but the accuracy is a huge disadvantage. So we're also going to get rid of Fabian Smith. 2 guys left to cut. A running back would make a lot of sense. A wide receiver would make some sense. Not getting rid of anybody there. Another defensive tackle makes a lot of sense. It's going to be John Wayne's Pilgrim that gets the boot. It's because we have Fudge and Dan Shaw ahead of him. And if we keep this punter, we won't have to recruit a kicker this year. Losing 2 running backs this year. Good with keeping Doc McStuffins. A.O. Jenkins has such a good name, but man, I don't know if I can keep him. I mean, we have some slower receivers in general. I mean, fuck you is slow, but he's at least going to have good hands. Yeah, hate to say it. Great name, but A.O. Jenkins is on the way out. That was a pretty tough cut, down to 70. Again, after not having to cut anybody last year. Let's get these conferences set up. And then next season, season 6. Can we finally break the curse and live up to our potential? That will be the big question. In terms of our coaching skill tree, I don't think we had anything we wanted to reset, and we don't. We're good. So the conferences, let's go ahead and get confirmation. Promoted from the Sun Belt, Arkansas State will replace Colorado State, and Marshall have been relegated for Air Force. So that is your new look Sun Belt Conference and divisions. Changes there with Marshall and Colorado State getting relegated. Get into the freaking groove here of editing this Word doc for the season. All right. Again, it's ULM behind the webcam. For the SEC. Here, we'll go ahead and just do this so you guys can see everybody that's there. For the SEC, it is Indiana on the way up to replace Appalachian State. And Western Michigan have been relegated for the Louisiana Ragin' Cajuns. So that is going to be the SEC, our second from the bottom tier, since we just went alphabetically. That is going to be the second from the bottom tier for this upcoming season. So back to the Pac-12 to finalize it. On the way up as champions, Northwestern have been promoted to the Mountain West, where they will replace Mid-Tennessee State, and Temple have been relegated for Troy. So that is the brand new Pac-12 with Temple and Mid-Tennessee State having been relegated. For the Mountain West, moving up as champions, it will be Hawaii as they head to the MAC to replace San Jose State. And then UTEP, El Paso, they have been relegated for Ball State. So that is your new look Mountain West for Season 6. San Jose State and El Paso having been relegated. Hawaii and Ball State on the ups. To the MAC, promoted as champions, Virginia are on the up and up as they will replace Kentucky in Conference USA. And you also have Oklahoma State relegated for Nebraska. So that is the new look MAC. Kentucky and Oklahoma State get ready to learn some action. Good to see Virginia finally move up and not be complete trash. Conference USA. Moving up as champions, Maryland, as they will be replacing Michigan State, and Washington State have been relegated for Stanford. So that is the new look Conference USA. And Maryland and Stanford on the up and up. Within the Big Ten, moving up as champions, South Carolina. They've turned into quite the force as they will be replacing Mississippi State. And the Green Wave of Tulane have been relegated for Virginia Tech. So that is the brand new Big Ten. Again, just got a couple of things to update real quick. Yeah, that is the brand new Big Ten. For the Big 12, moving up as champions, NC State, who will be replacing Florida State, while Cal have been relegated for Arkansas. So that is the new look Big 12. California and Florida State both getting relegated is wild to me. Shout out to Arkansas, though, being now in the 3rd tier. Good for them. Moving up from the American as champions, UCLA, who lost in the national title game. They will be replacing Oklahoma in the ACC. And Washington has also been relegated for Iowa. So that is the new look 3rd tier, the American Conference. A lovely brand new 3rd tier. Iowa and UCLA went up, and we hit the old bitmap button accidentally. Love to see it. And then in our top conference, moving up as champions, Penn State back to the Elite Six as they will replace Oregon, and Texas A&M have been relegated for Clemson. So that is the new 2nd tier, the ACC, the highest fully fleshed out conference that we have. And then that brings us to the Elite Six, which is Bama, Auburn, Clemson, Ohio State, Penn State, and Texas, heading into the 6th season as the best of the best. God help me, we need to get out of the Sun Belt.